your girl, Evelyn Lozada, on a new episode of Drop the Low with my sidekick, my ace.
Hi, I'm Shaniece, and I am super excited about today. This moment for me today is like really coming full circle with one of my only favorite therapists, Elizabeth Winkler. Just a background story, I met Elizabeth through a mutual friend of mine back in 2017?
I think so, yeah.
Back in 2017. And so she was my therapist for a few years, and she also came on to Live in Lozada.
Yeah.
We filmed on Live in Lozada.
Which I loved.
And now you're on Drop the Low.
I know.
I'm excited. My heart is warm.
You know what? Usually I'm the one that's excited.
I know.
I'm always like, I'm so excited. Today we're going to pass the torch to Shab
I'm so
to be excited.
No, I just think you are like so amazing.
No.
And, you know, I want to say this as a therapist. There were many things I loved about you, but one of the things was like you gave me the tools to go out into the world with the tools so that I didn't necessarily, I'm not going to say need, but you know what I mean? I wasn't like such an attachment. Like you let me be free and you were able to give me the tools in order to succeed, even if I wasn't in your sessions, which I still use all your acronyms and it's fine.
Good.
I can go with it and flow with it and all of the things.
That's
Yes.
all I care about. I
Yeah.
want to give people their power back.
Yes.
And so you just gave me a huge gift.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because that's all I care about.
Yeah.
You know,
She speaks highly of you for many, many, many years. I mean, I even kept your number, you know.
Yeah.
So today we're stepping into a conversation that's not easy, but it's necessary. We're going to be talking about family secrets, trauma, and those truths we have avoided for too long. And so what led to this is you saw the episode with my mom.
I did.
And that episode, I will say, ruffled a few feathers. And I was like, I told Shaw, I was like, we have to do a part 2 to this because it's like, it shook the family. And I can't necessarily, I'm not going to say the whole family. I'm sure it was a conversation within the family that everybody didn't, that I'm not privy to. But one specific family member reached out to my mom once they watched the episode. So that's what led to this. And I was like, oh my God, we have to have, I thought it was important to do this because I grew up in a space where we just didn't talk about anything. You know, everything was brushed under the rug and, you know, people didn't really communicate very well. There was a lot of anger. And guess what? You know what? I'm angry. I'm not going to talk to you for 10 years, which is still an ongoing cycle within my family. And so when it comes to my immediate circle, when it comes to like my daughter, my sister, I always say that's like my close circle. Mm-hmm. We try to communicate and we try to do things differently. But everyone in the family as a whole is and I will say it's more of the older generation.
Yeah.
They're just not, that's not how they deal with any type of conflict. So
Okay.
So much more to what we could say, you know, and so that was really the most of it, right?
Yeah, and I think the bigger picture is basically, you know, for people discussing trauma, their own trauma, and to not be ashamed by that trauma, or, you know, you have people that try to like bully you into like putting you in a box of your own story, of your truth kind of thing. And so, and every family has their trauma. So I guess the lesson today, like you said earlier, would be to how do we transmute that energy into other places, other ways.
Yeah. So I do a lot of acronyms, and it's just something that's manifested over time. And I have a new one for shame, which is what we're talking about. And it's, so shame grows in silence. Okay. That's how it grows. And so secrets, secrets hold all my evolution. Secrets hold all my evolution. And when I created it originally, I was like, secrets hold all my energy, which also works, or secrets hold all my empathy. So when we are in silence, which is what happens when we have trauma, when we're kids, we don't know how to handle things. And if our parent is doing something, or some adult is doing something that, you know, hurts us, we naturally go into this split place of good, bad, and I have to make my parent or whoever this person is good because I'm dependent upon them. So I will make myself bad. So that split happens, and that's why we often silence or we hold on to all of these pains and fears and shames, and we silence ourselves because I have to survive. But then later in life or on an episode, right, something comes out, something's activated, and that secret comes out. And when we are able to talk about the things that we have difficulty talking about, we open up the doors to ancestral healing. That's what we're talking about today, not only for your family, but for all the people watching. That, oh, I can talk about that. When we can start to talk about these things, we actually open up. I mean, these energies are real, like anxiety, all of that stuff, shame. It's like a vessel of energy that we store. When we were very young, something happened to you when you were really little, and you just push that down because you can't handle it, right? I got to get through this. I got to survive, right? But that's still inside of us. It's inside of our body. So then something in life happens, a new relationship, maybe, you know, an adult relationship, and it touches on that. Have your buttons ever been touched? This person that reached out to your mom and to you, their buttons were pushed, right? And they didn't like that. And so that person is pushing it down. No, we don't talk about that. Secrets hold all my evolution. That person doesn't know that yet, okay? The three of you, your mother and the two of you, know that, right? Because then, okay, I get to open it. There's a lot of energy when we start to do that, but we can transmute our pain into power. So my acronym for pain is power as I notice. Pain becomes your power as you notice it, as you start to pay attention to that thing that you pushed down. People don't realize that you can actually heal the past just simply by allowing what we have pushed away. So we often feel weak, you know, and we feel weak in these moments, or we're judging someone else as weak. And this is not only an acronym, it's a practice. Welcome energy, allow kindness. So when anyone feels activated, someone feels activated by watching us today, I invite you to practice that. Welcome the energy that's active in your body, in your heart, in your mind, in your environment. I welcome this energy, which is acceptance. I allow kindness, which is love. So we're bringing acceptance and love, and that is what we need to give to ourselves for those old energies that are stored in our bodies in order for them to transmute and to become, you know, fear becomes freedom in that process. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that does make sense, because I want to say I've experienced that first on with you in our sessions. Like, you were the first person that realized that whenever I would go to cry, I don't know if you remember this, I would hold in my tears. Like, I would hold my breath or like something. I remember you saying, you were like, it's okay to cry. No offense, but like,
I knew this was coming.
No, because it's true. Because after that, I learned, like, tears are it's just a flow of energy, you know? And so after our sessions, I'm like, okay, if you need to cry, just let it go. Like, because I was just holding it on. But no offense to you, Mom, but like, you know, we came from a place where if you keep crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Right.
And nobody wants anything to cry about.
Right.
So you just suck it all in, and it's like, but no, I feel this way. These are feelings, and it's energy, and it's just coming out. And sometimes it could mean nothing, you know, but it just needs to flow.
Yeah.
And so, as to your point, that was my experience with that just flowing and healing.
Yeah, and we don't even know, to your point, what you just said, sometimes you don't know why you're having a feeling. Someone could watch this and get a burst of energy of emotion. Just, you don't need to know. Too many people, like analysis paralysis, I'm a therapist, like people are like, what is it? Why am I feeling? Drop why. Don't need to know why. Instead, where are you feeling this in your body? And what are you noticing? That's all you got to do. Just bring your awareness to where it is. And what are you noticing? Oh, I'm noticing a lot of movement. I'm noticing tightness in my chest. I'm noticing a lump in my throat. Fine. Welcome the energy. Allow kindness. I swear, if you do that, you can heal anything. It really is very simple. But when we go to why and analysis, we start to add all this stuff. We get stuck in our head. And then we resist. And resistance
I had
is the problem.
a kind of like a sidebar question, but it made me think about this. So do you feel like, so my mom has been very open about, like she shared certain things with me about her pregnancy when it comes to me. So I was at her conversation about her, you know, wanting to cry, but I was very emotional baby, like toddler. Like they called me in Spanish mantequilla, which is butter in Spanish, because all I did was cry. I'm very emotional. I'm probably still a crybaby, but I think I'm a little bit more controlled, and I've done some work, so I'm not super emotional about everything. But do you feel like when women are pregnant and they're going through a tough pregnancy, obviously in this case, it would be my father. She couldn't stand my father during the pregnancy. My mother went to the abortion clinic. She laid there. She was about to have an abortion from
Wow.
me.
Wow.
And she said the reason why she did it was because the women that were coming out were crying and they were upset. So she decided, obviously, not to. So she shared that with me. She also told me that when I was first born, I stayed in an incubator, which she talked about on the episode, for a few days, weeks, because my heart was enlarged and I was
yeah.
underweight. But she also didn't want to see me. Like there was no connection to me at all because of everything that she dealt with during her pregnancy. Do you feel like infants can carry that on?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think that when we're in the womb, that you're taking in a lot of whatever's going on. I do think that that's a thing. And then also when you come into the world, the touch, the connection, the attachment. How do you, I don't know if you're familiar with different attachment styles, like secure, anxious, avoidant are some of the different ones. Do you feel like what's your attachment with your mother? I mean, when you were,
I felt very attached to her as a kid, but I also didn't grow up with my dad, so I didn't really, she's my only parent. So I feel like my attachment to her was definitely closer than my sister's.
okay.
So I did feel attached to her, but I think there's still some things to unpack there. I think more as I got older and just the relationship, but I did feel attached to my mom. Like my mom's my everything.
Yeah, and I think we also carry ancestral stuff, Like I don't know if I'll get this totally correct, but like the when you're in the womb, like you already had your eggs, like Shanice's eggs were
Right.
in the, all about that.
Yeah.
So it's like you're carrying, think of that. Think of how,
I think about that with Blaze.
yeah, it's just like amazing.
Right.
So you're not only carrying, Shanice was with you, when you were born. And like, think of just how far that goes back. I just think that the ancestral chain is so deep. So also what we're doing today is helping, and what you did with your mom in that episode is helping break those chains, not just within your family, but all the people that are here witnessing it.
Right.
Which is a gift.
Right. So do you feel like the secrets, because do you feel like having family secrets protects us, or do they just delay the pain?
Oh, 100% delay the pain. And they actually don't delay the pain. You're carrying it with you every moment. What we resist persists, right? Silence is resistance. Secrets are holding all of your evolution. You're not able to move on. You're not able to get beyond, that thing. You don't even realize how much it's holding you back.
Right. And I see it so clearly in this person because he's been so angry, and I hope he watches this, because I hope that it didn't have to go where it went. I did respond and we got into it because I felt bad that he was speaking to my mom a certain way. But I also feel like I know, even without having this conversation, that he needs a lot of healing. And he's just holding on to a lot of stuff. To give you a little bit more context, my grandmother had 5 kids. her first daughter, she didn't raise, someone else raised her. Then came my mom. She didn't really raise my mom either. My mom was raised from someone else. And then came another sibling. They were raised with someone else. So the one that my grandmother really, really raised is the youngest, which is my aunt. I won't say her name, but which is one of my aunts. And I just talked to her the other day, and you know, she understands. Like, I would think if anything, she would be the one that's more sensitive to it, because she was raised with my grandmother. But she's the one that's so understanding of, I get it. Everybody in the family has their own trauma with my mom, and I understand that. But yeah, I feel like he has a lot of healing to do, and I wish he would have these conversations, because he's been very angry for many years.
Right. And I mean, that there's a reason for that
Yeah.
anger. The anger is a cover. There's nothing wrong with anger. Like, I mean, obviously anger can become something really destructive. So I'm not speaking to that. We all have anger. Anger is an emotion that human beings have. However, it's also covering hurt. And so typically the angrier the person, the more hurt that they're hiding. And I never actually talk about this one. So yeah. So, I mean, I look at hurt as like unresolved trauma, you know. I think I don't really have the acronym. I think it's like, I'm making it right now.
I love that.
It's like healing your unresolved trauma would be
Yeah.
hurt or something like that. But yeah, and I want to just say this for anyone that's listening and doesn't think that anyone can change. Anyone can change. I'm in the business of change and transformation. It's really transformation. But we have to be willing to change. You have to be willing. If you're not willing, if you believe, no, that person can never change, guess what? They're never going to change. Even if they do, they won't through your eyes, because you have a belief system that's creating that reality, and you will not see the little nuanced difference that they are. My way of looking at everything in this world is that everything is a river. This moment is a river. You are a river. You're a river, and I'm a river. Everything is a river. And you can't step in the same river twice. You know, how much sleep you got, what you ate, all of those components to the people you're hanging out with, the conversations you're having, the conversations you're not having, you know, the relationships in your life. So we're flowing. Are we allowing ourselves to flow? Or are we holding on so tight to the side of that river? It's like, no, I don't know where the river is going. We don't know. It's uncertain. But once we can just say, okay, yes, I'm saying yes to whatever this is, don't really know where it's going. Can I trust? Because it's about trust or fear in every single thing. So I just want to speak to that people can change.
Yeah.
Because I think we often feel, and I'm myself guilty of that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I never fall into that trap. We all do. We're human beings.
Right, of course.
Right? But really, when we feel like someone can never change, it's because we have attached too tightly to a belief system about that person.
Yeah.
Right? And am I willing to say, I don't know if you remember all my mantras, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe, maybe not is a really good one for judgment. We're talking a lot about judgment. When we judge something, which is what happens when we have shame, we judge. We judge ourselves, or we judge someone else. And what that does is it puts us into a guilty place and a shameful place. And it's like, well, I can't tell anyone about this because everyone's going to judge me. Well, that's because you're judging yourself, right? And so if anyone is struggling with judgment, and we all are, the mantra I use to help you get out of that is maybe, maybe not. And what does that do? It puts you in a question mark rather than a period at the end of the sentence that this is always going to be this way, right? So that's just a tool. As you said, I like to give tools.
No, and I
that's
love
great.
it, but it's being in the flow of life, because nothing stays the same, which
Nothing's
is
certain.
the pros and the cons
Yeah.
about it, right? You're not going
Right.
to be happy forever, and you're not going to be sad forever. So it's basically going with the flow. And there was another thing that you taught me that I loved, the word should.
Oh, yes.
We often get into this place where it's like, this should be this way and this should be that way, and I shouldn't be doing this and you should be doing that, and all of these shoulds that we just put into our brain, that it's like there are no shoulds.
Yeah.
And I do it too. I should be doing this, or I shouldn't have been in this position, or something. But it's like when there's a force that's greater than you, which,
Yes.
which is what we believe in, which is
Yes.
what I believe in, there can't be a should.
So
there are
the
no shoulds.
the should statement is stop shoulding all over yourself, which I didn't invent that. That's not me. That's
I love that.
So it's stop shoulding all over yourself. And I have a formula because people are like, okay, well, anytime you hear yourself say the word should or supposed to, you just are going to replace it with the word want. So I'll use something simple, not a big deal. Like I should work out today. Okay. What I'm going to say instead is I want to work out today. So should puts my power outside of myself. And by the way, every time you say should, you will feel guilt. So if you want to feel guilty, keep shoulding. If you want to feel guilty, keep, supposed to. Okay. So that is not, it's an automatic deal that you get that. But when you say want, you can feel your body. I'm all about getting back into your body. So is that true? When I say I want to work out and then I'm like, you know what? I'm really exhausted today. I need to take the day off. Or yeah, that would feel great. It allows you to get in touch with your true being, with the depth of you, which is all that matters. Not your mind, your truth. So that really does work. So that's a little
That's good.
way to work with it.
That's very good.
So, and back to speaking about family.
Yeah.
So, like, my grandmother spoke her truth, and she spoke up on her story, and obviously she got pushed back from her brother. What do you do in situations and families and friends and whomever when you want to have a voice, but you feel like you're being shut off?
You mean like basically what happened? That
Yeah, like she was being, like for instance, I didn't feel like I found my voice until my early 20s, mid-20s. And then I realized that when I would go to say something, it was like I was getting the backhand, or I wasn't being understood, or it would bring out it would bring anger out of the other person. Does that make sense?
Or to add to that, a lot of the comments from people that watched it were, I ended up becoming the black sheep of my family because I decided to try to have a conversation that nobody was ready to have. And a lot of people have been alienated, or family members are mad. Why are you trying to talk about this old, nonsense? Like, let her rest in peace, or whatever. Yeah.
Or a gaslighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people, because if you become ostracized, that's often like how people keep the secret. They'll make that person the bad one, right? And tell a story about that, which is really, really hard. And that, like you were saying earlier, like a bully, like that's what a bully does.
Right.
A bully makes, she's crazy and everyone knows she's crazy. And then that becomes the story.
So what does someone do, right? Because if you have someone that wants to have these conversations, but most of the family doesn't, how is that person able to heal from whatever that trauma was if nobody wants to talk about it?
Well, the person can heal because it's an internal experience. You're healing from within. So the person that's speaking truth is healing. Now, they might not be able to heal anybody else, but their energy is part of that greater river of that family. So it is having an impact even if you don't feel like it is, okay? It is having an impact not just on that family, it's having an impact on others. And more importantly, whoever that person, the three of you, it's going to have an impact on your children and all of that. So it's a ancestral healing process, but it's very difficult. What I talk to people about with this sort of thing, when you have to talk about, or not have to, I'm really big on language, so I'm just going to correct myself, because if you ever say have to, change that to choose to. We get into these victim spaces with our language, should, have to, but all of those words need to be changed so that we can be in our power. So have to, choose to, but, and, always, okay? So when we are speaking our truth, you're in your power. And sometimes people don't want to hear it. When people are really having a hard time with that, with their family, or they're in the public forum, I deal with that a lot. Someone's in the public forum, they share something and it gets trashed, cancel culture, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. What I say to them time again, because usually what's being thrown on that person is not true, right? That's what you're talking about. They're black sheep. Okay, that person, they're going to gaslight you, whatever. It's really about you holding in your truth. You know what's true. And truth is not something you feel insecure about.
Right.
Like when you're in your truth, you're like, this is the truth. But you know the people that fight really hard and they're like justifying. So I have this thing, Jedi, for your ego. Your ego is Jedi. Justify, explain, defend, insist. Okay? So we need to be ego Jedis. We don't want to justify, explain, defend. Or anyone that has to justify, explain, defend, and insist is protecting something. They're protecting a lie. Okay? So when you're in your truth, you don't need to do that. It's like right now, we all know we're here. Like, you know, this is a mic. We don't, but if I were to be like, oh, if I were to call it something else, you'd be like, that's weird, right? We know we're here. We know we're sitting on this chair. I want you to be in your knowing. When you're in your knowing, you're in your truth, and there's nothing to fight about. And people feel that. So it's not easy, because if you're like in a public forum, which you are, and someone's saying a bunch of trash about you, it's hard, but it's really harder for that other person, if that makes sense. So I just always say, stay in your truth. You know what's true to people that are in that position.
Yeah, and I think it took years for me to so being in the public eye for so long and just having so many people try to tell you what your truth is. It would drive me crazy like 10 years ago, because I'm like, that's not true. You know,
Right.
they're saying these things. And now I'm like, fuck off. Like,
Right.
I know what my truth is.
And if
you know?
so what someone wants you to do is take the bait.
Yes.
So they're baiting you, whether they realize it or not. Like, oh no, this is your truth. And so when you get in that dance, forget it. You have validated them.
Right.
Okay? But if you just like, that might be a moment of to be silent, but that's not silence in the way of shame. That's silence like, I don't need to defend myself. I know what my truth is. But, you know, so.
Right. Right.
I have a question. So, you know how we're all vibrating on different energy fields,
Yeah.
and, you know, some people having a lower consciousness than others. How do you deal with that? Like how, because we go on through life, right? But how do we deal with that?
Well, do you mean like what do you mean exactly?
Like sometimes when I'm speaking to someone, I'm like, this is a really difficult conversation because you're just vibrating on a different playing field, and I'm not going to bring myself down to reach yours. And you're most likely, no time soon, going to bring yourself up to reach mine. So it's just kind of like friction.
Yeah.
But it's based off of energy and frequency and
Totally.
just overall consciousness, you know? How do you handle those conversations? Because not everyone that we meet, some people are going to be higher, lower.
Yeah.
Like, how do you...
Well, it's all about communication.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm thinking of when you say that is like, and this comes up a lot in romantic relationships, but really any relationship, but I talk about it a lot with couples, which is like, okay, there's a 6 in front of me. What are you seeing? You're seeing a 9. So I can fight all day that it's a 6, and you can fight all day that it's a 9. We're both, by the way, we're both right.
That's a good one.
Okay? We're both right. And we can keep digging in our heels, and I can be like, it's a 6, and you're like, no, it's a 9. Or I can eventually just say, hey, help me see your 9. Help me understand. I don't see it. I don't get it. Help me understand your 9. Help me see your side. So it's really, to have a deep conversation, we need to not be at the level of content. This is like a therapeutic technique. If we're just talking about the content, we were talking about like someone saying who you are, what your truth is, that's content. When you talk about the process, when I said help me understand, that's a process. Like, I want to understand your side. I might not agree with it, but like, help me understand. What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to get me to see? Or what am I not hearing? How am I not hearing you? Or that sort of thing. So you're talking about the process. And that will take you from, like, if we're in a victim space, basically we feel like those conversations where you feel like you're hitting your head against a wall and you can't get anywhere, really frustrating. If you have done that, you have been responding to content. And so you could talk about how you're feeling. When you were talking about this, you were like doing this, you were feeling a particular friction, I think was the word you used. You're like, I'm feeling a lot of friction right now. You could that's talking about the process. Or you could talk about a nonverbal cue you're seeing, like, you know, when someone says something harsh, but they're laughing or smiling, you'd be like, you just said something really harsh to me while you were laughing. Like, I'm curious what that's about. That's going to take them out. It's going to take them to a deeper level, which is what you want. Because they might not even be aware. Like, you're putting the mirror up, if that makes sense. So these are different ways to go beyond like that very cyclical kind of conversation that we get stuck in sometimes.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes. And by the way, you're so good with couples because I started seeing you first, and then me and my boyfriend started seeing you. And then we ended up breaking up, and then he still was seeing you.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. I was like, okay.
That is hilarious. So what is the best way to bring up painful subjects without it exploding in the family? So is there a way to kind of like bridge these conversations?
It's a really good question. And I don't know that there's like one way, obviously. I will say, if somebody is dealing with someone who's very narcissistic,
Oh, I was going to ask that.
okay? If we're dealing with someone who's very narcissistic, it's very difficult to have a conversation like we are right now, meaning in person. You typically with a narcissist, and by the way, everybody has narcissism, but like I'm talking about someone with narcissistic personality or like high narcissism who never takes responsibility, who blames you. It's your fault. If you were to say something, they would turn it around on you. Okay? Gaslight you, say you're crazy, and dismiss or deny everything that you just said. Okay? So that's just a quick little thing. But with a narcissist, they're very reactive and they're protecting themselves. So if we're dealing with that, what has really helped a lot of people I work with is writing a letter. And sometimes you have to write like 20 letters before you get to the letter. And I help people with that.
That's good.
But why does it work? Because a letter, it's all there. Remember, you're not being heard by someone with a lot of narcissism. Now, by the way, you could do this with not a narcissist. Don't just think that it's like, if you don't feel like someone's hearing you, with a letter, it's there. You get to choose the things that you want them to hear. And then if they're getting really activated, because typically that's why they're so reactive, they can put the letter down. And then they can come back to it. And they can put it down, and they can come back to it. So it's not that heated, explosive
Could that
conversation.
be a text message too? Or does it have to be a letter?
I don't think it would work on a text message.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because you know, in those narcissistic relationships, typically it's back and forth and hot and hot and hot and hot. And
Got
it's
it.
really that you're going to get another text right back, and it's going to be more inflammatory.
Oh.
And they didn't even read it. They're just taking like words. Because I was in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist. They just take the words that anger them the most, and then go back at you with that.
Yes.
And then you feel so dismissed, and it's like you're beating a dead horse kind
Yeah,
of thing. The
totally.
6 and the 9
Yeah.
kind of situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also within that, there's like this thing called the drama triangle. So it's like persecutor, victim, and rescuer. So that's like a thing that we get caught in, that we all do, by the way, within ourselves. So like a persecutor would be the judge or the bully. Like, oh, I look terrible today. Like, we all say that to ourselves sometimes, unfortunately. Then what do I feel like? The moment I judge myself, guess what happens to me?
I feel terrible.
I become a victim. Anytime you judge somebody else or yourself, which, by the way, if you're judging someone else, you're still judging yourself, because everything has a boomerang effect. So when we judge, we become a victim. And then there's that rescuer that comes in that saves you. But that triangle never ends. So there's like a more evolved way to get out of that, which is what we're talking about.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Sorry, I hadn't looked at our thing.
We've just been in it.
So how do you know how you have your family trauma? How do you stop that from getting into present relationships, like current relationships, the past?
Well, you're saying, how do you not bring that there?
Sorry, yeah, let me position the question.
Yeah.
How do you stop your past from getting into your present? your
Like
past
your baggage,
experiences, your baggage, your fears, your all of these things. How do you stop that in the present?
Well, we don't always know that we're still carrying something. But guess what? Relationships bring it out in you.
Yeah.
Maybe you've noticed. Like you're in a relationship and then all of a sudden something is activating in you, meaning upsetting you. A button's being pushed. It means it's still there. So we don't always know what we're carrying, but once we realize something is activated, we can own that and work with it within ourselves, within our bodies, with a therapist, with friends, and then also talking to your partner about it. I think the more that this is what today is about. It's about not being in silence and not holding that secret. It's like, hey, I have this from my last relationship or from my family, and I'm wanting to evolve that. So the more that we can speak about that in our own healing process or with the partner or people that are in our lives, it becomes more free.
Yeah. I think for me, now reflecting back, because his messages was so negative and it was like he was attacking us, and then he called my mom out her name, and then he started texting me. Mind you, in all the years I've always been respectful to this person. We've never had words, but now you're disrespecting my mom. But even now reflecting, I'm like, I shouldn't have even went down to your level. But it was so many buttons pushed, and it continued because we tried to ignore it. And remember, I kept saying, he texted again.
What?
Like for days at a time, it was like this anger that he kept just trying to get off his chest.
But I don't know that what you did. Listen, I don't think anything's right or wrong in this world. That's probably not true. Obviously, there's plenty of things that are wrong. But what I mean, there's not a wrong. I can understand why you did what you did, and we have to make peace with the choices we've made. And sometimes we've made choices that are not great choices, right? But we have to accept. Now, I always say acceptance is not approval. Acceptance doesn't mean I am proud of it, but it happened. What happened, happened. What most people want to do is they want to deny that something happened, and that's when you still carry it, to your point.
Right.
So we all get pushed into these places sometimes, and we're human. And it's like, what I would ask you, instead of being like, well, I shouldn't have done that, there's your shoulding and there's guilt and there's some shame you're going to create with that. It's like, okay, I did that. Well, what did you learn? If there's anything that we regret, if that's the word, because I know in that episode you said I don't regret, and I stand with that. It's like, as long as we're learning, we lose our temper. Yeah. Everybody loses their temper sometimes. And it's like, okay, when I have done that, when I've lost my temper and I yell or whatever, I own it. I come back to that person. I'm like, I'm not proud that I lost my temper in that moment. This is what was going on for me. Now, I know you're not going to have that conversation with this person, but maybe maybe yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's wise. Yeah. So what did you learn from this?
I think for me, I learned that I started thinking about just my family, just the siblings, and it actually made me really proud of myself. It made me really proud of myself that I just feel like he doesn't know who I am. I've evolved so much. I could have said so much more that I didn't. And I actually felt, once I blocked him, I actually felt pretty strong, and I was proud of my mom too, because I'm like, you didn't get into a whole cat fight with this person, and you've been doing this for 70 years. I'm proud of you that you didn't do that. So I feel like, our family unit, as I say, it's not perfect, but we're trying to be the best version of ourselves. We want our kids to do the same, and we're just trying to do it differently.
And also, I don't know all your stories of your life, obviously. So if if I'm incorrect in what I'm about to say, please correct me. Okay. Always. What I want to say is, from what I do know, and what you shared in that episode, is you didn't get to speak up in a lot of experiences you had, right, as a kid. Mm-hmm. And in this one, you chose to speak up, and so that probably felt really good too, because you got to say something. And you were silenced a lot when you were younger.
Right.
So that might be part of your evolution,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, no, that's definitely correct. I mean, we never sat down, we never had conversations, we never talked about anything. We just, I mean, I saw so many things as a kid that I feel like we should have been talking about this. Like, I saw my aunt stab her boyfriend, and it was kind of like it happened and then it didn't, It's like, oh my God, wow, look at the drama that just happened within the family. I saw, drug use. There was never really any, we never really talked about anything. It was just part of what our life was, and you move on and you get over it type of thing,
Yeah.
So I had to just figure it out on my own.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how was that for you?
I didn't always make the best decisions trying to figure it out.
Okay.
So it was definitely tough, but I mean, I wouldn't change anything because I feel like it's made me, all those life experiences made me into the person that I am today.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I'm proud of myself for surviving all of that. Like, sometimes I have these conversations with my son. He's like, you saw what? What happened? We talk about things because he asks a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I don't like to sugarcoat anything. I'm like, this is what it is.
No, and that's exactly my point. That's what I'm saying. You were
Yeah.
asking the question. It's like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You are raising your son and your daughter, and you're raising yours. And I'm raising mine. We're talking about the things we didn't talk about.
Right.
That's not healthy.
Even with Shaw, like I had her so young. So I had her at 17. I got pregnant at 16. But I remember thinking to myself, I want to have the type of relationship with my daughter. There's no shade to my mom because I love my mom. She tried to do the best that she could. But I want us to be able to talk about everything. Like, I want her to know I'm her mom, but I also want her to feel comfortable where she's like, hey, she wants to vent about something or she needs advice. So because I didn't want her to make the same mistakes that I did, just
Yes.
trying to figure it out because I didn't have somebody to talk to.
I totally agree with you. Like, what I always say, because I think a lot of people in this old modality, it's like, oh, well, I need to be the parent. I mean, it's a very old way of looking at things, and I'm not going to, talk about my experience or my pain or what I went through, but it's like, you're a human being, and children don't talk to their parents because they're afraid they're going to be judged. It's like the most important thing we can do as parents is, like, obviously you don't want your kids are going to make choices that aren't the greatest, right? And we have to help them.
Yeah.
But saying to them, I've got you no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling, like a lot of kids struggle with addiction or whatever it may be, right? If you're struggling, I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to be here and I'm going to help you. And that's not the old way. It was like, no, I'm going to give you something to think about, right?
Of course.
and you're going to have to, deal with it. And then, So what does that do to a kid? It makes them button it up, secrets, silence. And then what does that do to the thing that they're struggling with? Well, they're certainly not going to talk about it, and they're probably going to keep doing it because that's the way that they're soothing their pain.
Right.
Whether it's relationships, bad relationships, or whatever. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's beautiful that you came in with Shaniece with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to just continue to evolve in this life. Like, who I was 10 years ago, I'm not. I'm evolving every day, just trying to become the best mom, the best friend, the best daughter, the best person. Because there's this perception of me on TV that, people think like, oh, she's this and that. But in my real life, I'm very proactive. I feel like I'm a giver. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What is your take on forgiveness? Do you believe that it's always necessary? Because there is a thing where it's like, we don't necessarily need that. The forgiveness starts within ourselves, I guess.
It absolutely
Right?
does.
Yeah.
So I have a lot on forgiveness. So I actually have a mantra for it, and anyone can start using this immediately for little things, big things. You know, I got really passionate as a therapist to help little kids because I was helping so many adults unpack all the pain in their heart. And I'm like, why aren't we teaching this to like 4-year-olds? So I started to teach like in kindergarten, all these different ways to deal with pain. So this is an effective tool. It just came to me one day, and actually, I'll tell you the stories, but so what it is, the mantra is this: all you say when you're challenged internally or externally. And by the way, if there's something in the external world challenging you, it's also internal, meaning you're feeling it. There's energy in your body. Mm-hmm. So all you need to say is, where's love and forgiveness? Where's love and forgiveness? Which sounds kind of weird because it's like, why am I asking a question? You're not looking for an answer. When you say that, where's love and forgiveness, what it does, this is what I've known over the last however many years I've been doing it, is love and forgiveness are natural to our being. They're natural in our heart when we're not in resistance or blocking. So when you say, where's love and forgiveness, it brings attention to love and forgiveness, and where attention goes, energy flows. So love and forgiveness start to flow more easily in our body. And in our world, you could say, where's love and forgiveness for that being or that person or the situation? So when I first created it, my kids were little. They would fight when we were trying to get out the door. And I said, we're going to try this. I called it a love experiment. Anytime we're challenged, instead of whatever else we've been doing, I'm just going to say, where's love and forgiveness? So I said that to my kids as they're fighting. And I said, where's love and forgiveness? And my son went like this. He took a deep breath, and his energy moved from his head to his heart. I could feel it. I could see it. And then I felt this bridge. And he said, I'm sorry, to his sister. And it wasn't like, I'm sorry, which is fake. It was, you could feel his heart.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, now, his name's Eli. I said, Eli, I want you to say, where's love and forgiveness for yourself? Because anytime we say we're sorry, there's a little leftover energy because everything is dualistic in our mind. I'm bad because I just said I'm sorry to my sister, so I must have done something wrong. So we have to do the self-forgiveness by saying, where's love and forgiveness here? So it's like it sweeps, it cleanses. And so I started to practice this, and I'll tell you, there was a woman who I worked with who was in her 70s. And she came back to me and said, I was sexually abused as a kid, and this is the only thing that has helped me, that has actually healed that. It was amazing. I had no idea. So I've had people tell me that they just use it as a mantra, like they'll meditate and they'll just repeat, where's love and forgiveness, and see it like rain. Mm. And so it's a powerful practice. And then I wanted to speak to the ability not to forgive. So if you feel like, no, I cannot forgive, what I say to that is on this: forgive yourself for not being able to forgive. And that right there is like this back door that opens things up as well. So
that's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'm going to try that on Leo.
Forgiveness.
Where's love and forgiveness?
Where's love and forgiveness? Yeah.
My little fire sign, that guy.
Yeah.
When we started Drop the Low, we didn't just want this to be, we're sitting here gossiping and talking about reality TV.
Right.
There's so much more to discuss, and we wanted this platform just to have substance and depth, and for us to have conversations where you can feel like, you know what, I've learned something from that,
It's beautiful.
So, yeah.
And I feel like there's like this common misconception, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but that people believe there has to be something wrong with them in order to go to therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why are you going to therapy kind of thing?
I know.
But I feel like therapy is great for anybody, any human being.
Well, it's all about, if you want to evolve, which, we're here to do that, I believe. And it's all about self-reflection. The more you can reflect on yourself, and like we all have patterns from our lives that we maybe brought with us here, or, that we've accumulated through different pains that we've gone through. And the only way to really break that is through reflection and being aware of, how am I participating in this, and how am I continuing this? How am I projecting this? What assumptions am I making about others or myself? And how am I projecting? That's how you continue the patterns of the past. And so it's really about do you want to feel more at peace? Yes or no? Do you want to feel happier or happy? Do you want to have more love in your relationships or in yourself? That's what therapy is for. You don't have to have a problem. I mean, I use it myself just to look at what's coming up for me, like what's frustrating me, whatever like really is upsetting you. There's always something inside of you that's pointing towards, like they say, put down the magnifying glass on somebody else and hold up the mirror. That's therapy. It's like,
So for someone, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
So
you're
for someone that, let's just say, can't afford therapy, right? They don't have insurance, so they just can't afford it. What are things that they can do at home
for sure
that can help them?
Okay. I love this question. So I became a meditation teacher, and the reason was that I always say mindfulness is the bullet train to freedom. What does that mean? Well, it means if I have all this panic attacks, I deal with people with anxiety a lot. That's in like you think of a snow globe and it's all activated. Every activation is an invitation for you to be more free. Well, working with meditation, which is free. I have tons of meditations. They're all free. I have tons of stuff on my website. It's all free, So I always want to have that. And if you can meditate, if you can learn to meditate, which anyone can meditate, doesn't mean that your mind's quiet. That's a misconception. People are like, I can't meditate. My mind's too loud. I'm like,
how I feel.
Well, guess what? You have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. You can't stop that.
Okay.
Say, I do too. Okay.
Right.
So what I say is like, let your thoughts be drops of water. Like think of them like rain. Mm-hmm. Okay. They're just moving through your mind. Now what happens is a thought captures your attention, like about some person that's annoying you, and it's good, and you start to pay attention to that thought, right? Maybe you're meditating and all of a sudden you start to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then where attention goes, energy flows. It goes from a drop of water to a thought stream. Then that thought stream, if you pay attention, becomes a river. Then it becomes an ocean. And now I'm drowning in the ocean of this story. Okay. So that's just going to happen for the rest of our lives. Let's make peace with that. Let's accept that. When you realize I'm drowning in an ocean of sadness, anger, frustration, anxiety, panic, you've attended to a thought. All you need to do is to bring your attention back to the present moment. Good news, our bodies are always present, so use your body as an anchor. So right now I'm sitting in a chair. I can bring awareness to my feet. I can bring awareness to the pillow behind my back. If I'm driving, I can put awareness to the steering wheel under my hands. That will bring me back to the present moment and out of my mind, which is the problem. It's creating the problem. So with meditation, you're going to get distracted sometimes. That's fine. You keep coming back to the guidance, the person talking. Maybe for 10 minutes of the meditation, you didn't hear anything. That's okay. You keep coming back. What you're doing with meditation, it's like when you work out and you're lifting a weight.
Yeah.
You're strengthening your ability to attend to that meditation. But that's not the whole deal. Right now, we're in the present moment, right? So I meditated this morning. If I get distracted by a thought at any moment in time, I can come back, bring my attention back to this moment, right? Because I have a strong ability to do that because I meditate a lot, right? So just keep coming back. That's what the purpose of meditation is, to help you be more present with your lives. And presence is everything, it's where the river is flowing. And if you're not in the river, then you're holding on to the side and you're stuck in the past.
So if you're just starting to meditate, what's a good amount of time?
Anytime. You could do the Where's Love and Forgiveness for 5 minutes. You could, people always talk about attending to your breath. I got to tell you, before I was a strong meditator, I could not do that. I definitely couldn't do that. But some people, it's easy. Mm-hmm. They can just focus on their breath. They can put their hands on their heart. You could start with a minute. You could start with, I have like 3-minute ones. I like to do like 15 to 20 myself. You can do it in bed. Like, don't get caught up in I have to sit a particular way. Like in COVID, I started meditating in bed, and like that's what I do now.
Is that when? So I was doing Coming Home to the Heart,
Oh, yeah.
off of Insight Timer.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
feel
on
like it
Insight
was
Timer.
around COVID time when that one, when you dropped that one,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And I've been doing that one.
My
I love that
favorite,
one.
my favorite meditation that I created for people is called Healing Your Heart from Pain to Power, and it's my alchemy process. So anyone that's struggling, please listen to that. So it's my process I created that's hate. Okay, another acronym. I know. Hate is not something we want in our lives. But I am always about making something shadowy, something dark into light. So
Shaniece, you listening to this?
so hate is what are you holding on to? So in this meditation, we go to, remember, it's not why, it's where am I holding this in my body? What are you holding on to? The A is accept. Are you willing to accept that this is here in your body? Am I willing to accept, yes or no? Now, again, I want to say this. I say this like 1,000 times a day. Acceptance isn't approval, because people are like, I don't accept that this happened. I'm like, but do you accept, because it's over, it's already done. Accept that this is here. And it's like, I look at these energies inside of us like hands reaching up from our heart, and they're younger versions of ourselves that didn't get to heal. And they're just reaching up saying, will you accept my hand? So are you willing to accept the hand? Yes or no? You get to decide. The T is trust. Are you willing to trust? Because by accepting, you give power back to that energy, to that child within you, your inner child, or whatever that is, that shame that was silenced. I accept. Now it has its power. Are you willing to trust, yes or no, that it knows what to do to heal itself? Because the energy does. You just have to give it attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. So by giving it attention, it has its power. And when you say, I trust, yes, I trust, I trust, I trust, I trust, the energy will move. Sometimes it moves out of you. Sometimes you cry. That's the way it moves out. Sometimes it's a burst of energy. Sometimes it stays in your body and it resources back into you. And then the E is expand, which is, are you willing to allow this energy to expand however it would like, yes or no? And when you do that, it's like sometimes you get messages in your dreams, or you listen to a song and it's a message from beyond, or whatever you believe, or you get some wisdom. Because you remember earlier I was saying people always want to know, well, what is this thing? Before I transmute it, I need to know what it is. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It comes on the other side after you've allowed yourself to be with it, to trust it. Then it like gives you a gift of like an aha moment of like, oh, that's what that was all about. You know, we've all had those experiences.
So we live in a time when there are so many people that are dealing with in fight or flight.
Yes.
And I feel like, I don't know, I have this whole thing on like America and how we live and just things that are happening around us. And we're just so used to living in fight or flight, or even like survival mode, even when we don't have to be, when we could take off our armor. Like for my mom, for instance, like she's back to you since you threw it at me earlier. I feel that sometimes she is so in fight or flight that, and sometimes she doesn't have to be, but she's been so programmed to be, you know? So how do you release that fight or flight or that survival mode? Like, how do you take the armor off and it's like, it's okay?
So important.
Because it brings a lot of like intensity.
Well, when you're in fight or flight, you're not in access to your deeper being, to your true being, and you're not in the present moment. You can't be in the present moment if you're in fight or flight. You're in your amygdala, which is a part of the brain that literally, you know, is ancient. But the human being has this other part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which allows us to make conscious choices and to break patterns of the past, because we have that reflection ability, right? So when we are in fight or flight, we basically have abandoned our heart and run to our mind, okay? So you talked about being conditioned. We all are. We all have like a personal computer. I have the personal computer, Elizabeth, Evelyn, personal computer, Shaniece. Those are all the things that have happened to you that are your programming. You are asking about why be in therapy, so I can let go of the program, so I can actually like I don't know, be present here. Okay, so but why do we go to the program? Because we're scared. Because we decide, whether we realize it or not, it's not safe. And so what you're asking is a very, very deep thing, because many of us have a lot of trauma. We all have. And we need to find ways. Meditation is incredible because anybody can do it. It does help your nervous system calm down. Breath work, I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about just working with your breath, like taking a nice, long, slow, deep breath in and extending your exhale. That will get, it activates the vagus nerve, which gets us out of fight or flight. So if you just make your exhale a little bit longer, if someone's frustrating you, do that. Okay.
Breathe.
Extend your
Breathe.
Let's all do it. Let's take a nice long breath. And just let your exhale lengthen. Like you're going down a slide. And do it again. Breathing in through your nose. And then letting that exhale just lengthen. And even as it lengthens, stay with the end of the breath as long as you can, not forcing, but just staying at that end point. There's a still point at the end of the breath. And just see if you can hang out there, and then the breath will naturally arise again. And then fall down back on that exhale. Let it lengthen, and then fall back into that still point, and just rest there for a moment. That is more than enough. How does that feel? Does that feel a little more calming?
Like I need a nap.
Well, see, that's fine, because if you're going all the time,
I am.
I know, I do it too.
Yeah.
So, but right now I feel more present. Not that I wasn't, but I feel more present.
Right.
Right? Like, so there's so much we can do, and just even if you were to start your day. So I don't know if you know Michael Beckwith. I love him.
Yes.
Love him.
I went to Agape.
Yeah,
I
I
went to
love
that.
him.
I loved
So
it.
I used to start my day with my hand on my heart. This is another tool for people. One on your belly, one on your heart. And his acronym is HELP. When you need help. Hello, eternal loving presence. So I would start my day, but you can do it at any moment. Just breathing with your heart. And just saying, hello, eternal loving presence. Hello, eternal loving presence. You could do that for a few breaths. If you did that every day, guess what happens? First of all, you're more in your body. You're more connected to the presence within you, to your spirit. When you need it most, you'll remember to do it. That's why meditation practice or mantras, that maybe not, or these acronyms can be there for you, those tools you need when you need them most, remembering that we are greater than this body, right? So
Yeah.
we need to have these practices to help us.
Thank you. So what advice, going back to this family member, because I want to see how we can button that, right? So if he was watching this episode, which I feel like he is, what advice would you give him to, I mean, I know we talked about a lot of different things, but if we can concise it just for him, like if you were speaking to him directly, what advice would you give to him to be able to not only have these conversations, but be able to, open up, move forward, not be so angry? What would you say?
Or I guess anyone like him, right?
Or anyone like him, yeah, because I feel like most people, like we said, most people get angry because they don't want to have the conversation, or it's starting to make them feel a certain way, which obviously him watching this made him feel
A particular
certain
way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think let's start with anger. Anger, it's really fascinating if people can just take a moment to look at when you are being angry. Let's look at like road rage as an example. And when you're doing that, are you affecting that person, or who's being affected by your anger? When you're being super angry, you're toxifying your system. People are it's a very unconscious place that we go to when we're yelling at someone just out on the street. That's not affecting them necessarily, but it certainly is affecting you. So I guess I would ask him is, how's that working out for you? How is it working out for you to be, yelling or attacking other people. I mean, you can pretend to, we can have a conversation, you and me, Evelyn, as if we're having the conversation with him if you want. But like, I don't know what he would say to that. I would try to get him to be more self-reflective, to look at how this is affecting his heart, his mind.
Yeah.
Like this, he's sowing seeds of anger.
Yeah.
What are the seeds that you want to sow? What do you want more of in your life? What are you trying to control? So, typically, there's some kind of control they're trying to have. The news is you can't control the external world. Maybe people have noticed. Can't control it. Can't control other people. It's really frustrating.
Right.
That's right. You hold the keys to your own freedom. So what do you really want? He's trying to control this by doing things outside. And it doesn't work. So I don't know. You can keep engaging with me here on this. What do you think the response would be?
I mean, from him, because I only know him to be just so angry and shut down. I don't know. I can't see anything different. This is how he's been for all of it.
Oh,
What?
well, wait, that goes back to
I
change.
know. No. So when you said I can't see anything different, I love that you said that. Because what I'm going to invite every person watching this is, are we all willing to open a window? And I'm saying it to this person, not just to you. I'm saying it to me, I'm saying it to you, and I'm saying it to him, and I'm saying it to everyone here. Are we all willing in this moment to open a window within a construct that we have of somebody that we struggle with, that maybe they've changed a tiny bit? Maybe there is change, because guess what? How could there not be? Nobody is a solid energy. We talked about the river. But we are always filling in the blanks of, oh, he's that kind of person, she's that kind of person, And can we all be willing to say, maybe I'm not totally right on that. How could I be? I don't know. I don't live inside their body. I don't live their life. I don't live their experience. I can't know. Are we willing to be in the fact that I'm pretty sure I have no idea what his experience is?
Right.
I can try. Actually, I don't like the word try. Drop try always. I can ask questions that can help me see your 9. So another thing I would say to him or anybody who's struggling is like, are you willing to try to see the 9 rather than the 6? Are you willing to see that there might be another way to do this, that your way is a way, but it doesn't mean it's necessary. It might be what you define as the right way for you, but it's not going to be the right way for everybody. Are you open? Are you willing to open a crack? Because that window is not, it's people think, well, then I'm giving you something. No, you're giving yourself freedom. That's how you give yourself freedom. Everything you do outside comes back to you.
Yeah.
I just feel like the anger, and I also feel like hurt people hurt other people. I particularly don't go throughout my day trying to hurt people, and so it's an energy that I don't necessarily want to engage with.
Yes.
But then in that instance, it's like, how can you not engage, I guess? But, yeah. But
Right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have been engaged.
Yeah.
I ended up obviously blocking him because I'm just like, okay, this conversation is not serving me, and the energy that you're bringing to me, if he would have approached it differently, I would have been like, hey, this is, you probably don't know a lot about me as your niece, but this is how I felt growing up. But
Oh yeah. So what would you say? I love that.
so yeah, I think if he approached me differently,
Yeah.
and he wasn't so angry, and he wasn't so, cursing us and speaking to us the way he was, I would have explained to him, this was my experience. These are the things that I saw. This is how it made me feel. And I'm sorry that it's making you feel a certain way because I'm talking about your mom, but this is what my truth is, and this is what my reality is.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have that conversation with him, because if he would have texted me, I would have been like, hey, you could call me, we could talk about it, but Obviously the conversation, didn't go that way. And I'm still open to that conversation.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm still open to that.
Love that.
What do you mean? I like to
That's
ask.
great.
No, I'm open to. It made me more sad for my mom.
That's beautiful,
I think
then.
it made me really more sad for her because that's her sibling. And the way he was speaking to her was, to me, just very offensive because I'm like, my mother is a woman and don't speak to her that way.
Yeah.
And he's gotten away with talking to people like that for many, many years. And to me, it's very abusive.
Yeah.
It's very abusive. So, that's why I said the things that I said to him. So,
Yeah.
but I would be open to a conversation. Even when I talked to my aunt the other day that I called her for her birthday, the one that she raised, we had a great convo. She's like, I love you. Have a happy birthday. She knows everything that was said on here. And she's just like, you know what? That's your story. That's your truth. And I'm not upset by it. So,
Yeah. We need more conversations like this. What you're doing right now is exactly what will heal everything we've discussed today.
Yeah.
Like, it's about what you just said. You opened a window into, you said, I can't see him a different way, but you just did. Because you just said, I am willing to have that conversation. And even you just saying it without him here is having that conversation within yourself.
Right.
Because we all have whatever is dark on our planet, meaning like that bully energy or that abusive energy or whatever that is, we also have that in ourselves. Now, we might not do that, but we can do it in other ways, right? We can be hard on ourselves or, it's a form of it.
Yeah.
And so you even saying that to yourself helps you heal your own inner bully or whatever you want to call it, right? And so if that's the only conversation you have is what you just did right now with us and everyone watching, that's something.
Yeah.
And to me it showed like forgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like it was forgiveness. But it's funny we're having this question because I was thinking about you the other day. She has a stronger personality, Sag, Gemini, the fire in the air. So she comes across stronger, but she's also more forgiving. Like, I'm not as forgiving as she is or as accepting.
So let's talk about that.
It's the truth. Like, it's the truth.
I am.
Like, I won't talk to anybody.
I am a fire. I am I am the fire, but I'm also the type of person that I get over things pretty quickly because I just want to move forward from whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. That's very fire.
So yeah, I am forgiving because I feel like when I'm holding on to it, it just weighs me down.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. You were like, talk to somebody who's like this. I would be like, how's that feeling? How's that working out for you? You're aware of the heaviness that it creates. Now, sometimes it can create disease in our body, like literal, we have heart issues, or I'm not saying all disease is emotional, but a lot of it is, right?
Yeah.
So
Shaniece, go ahead, Shaniece, tell her
yeah.
how.
No, I was just saying you are faster in forgiving and acceptance and of people. Like, I could not speak to certain people ever again, and I'm totally fine.
And
it's not that I'm even holding on. It's just I would prefer not to engage.
okay. Is there anything you want to change on that?
Well, this is the thing.
Really.
Well, let's really talk about that because I think it depends on the circumstance, right?
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
certain people that you could never talk to ever again and never see ever again, and it is what it is because they're a friend, they're not in your life. I think with Shaw's relationships and the people she wants and chooses not to talk to anymore are people she has to have a relationship with.
Okay.
And she has to figure out how to work on that relationship,
I was talking general though.
Oh, okay.
Someone would do something and you're friends with them again 6 months later or a year later, and I'm like, that is very forgiving. That is very forgiving. It's very accepting. I don't know if I can. It's like I don't forget. You know what I mean? It's the forgetting. Like, because
Which-
my mind goes back to what you did.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe that is a way of holding on, but it's a memory. Like, how do you, I
Well,
don't
the
know.
memory, how does it feel? Well, again, how is that feeling in your body? Like
The
how,
memory?
Yeah. Like
It
when you
stinks.
think, okay, it what?
It stinks.
It stings. Where does it
Yeah.
sting?
No, it stinks. Like the memory is like, oh, gross.
Okay,
You know?
and how does that feel
Not
right now?
good.
Okay, do you feel it in your body right
It's
now?
like disgust.
Good. Oh my God, we are hitting the nail. Oh yes, my
It's
favorite
disgust.
word. My
And-
favorite word.
yeah.
No, so I do a lot of shadow work.
Yeah.
And people are like, what's your shadow? So you don't know what your shadow is because it's unconscious. Your shadow is the thing that basically it's the engine of our ego that's holding us back. And the way you find your shadow, what disgusts you? That's
Yeah.
the question. So whatever disgusts you is your shadow. So if you really want to work deep, which I know you love to do that, you can work with that. And you don't have to ever talk to that person, but it's that person's living inside
Yeah.
of you still.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the disgust means we're really onto something. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
And
what are
give
your
me an example of who I got over something.
I'm not going into that now,
Give me-
but there have been many instances with you where I thought, wow, that's very forgiving.
Give
of
me
her.
an example.
You know,
Give me
that is
one
very accepting, because I don't know, once I'm like, I don't know, it's just that I don't forget. And once I'm in that space, like I'm good, you know? But she moves faster. Like you
But
said, fire is over it.
Are you good? Because you just told me you're in disgust.
I'm
So
good on the person. Like I don't, there's
is that?
no going back to like, once I move away from a situation, I never come back the same. You know what I mean? Even if I try to come back the same, because there's still that feeling lingering of you did this that I didn't like. So, but she is just more forgiving in that way. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm commending you for your forgiveness.
I know, but give me an example.
Yeah.
Give me one example.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't
Why?
go
Say it.
into
We could
that.
cut it out. Just give me one example.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
In some of your dating.
In some of my dating.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
that's it.
Okay.
Where I'm like, okay, that is forgiveness. That's how I look at it, though, not like in another way. Yeah.
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 Do you want to have more of that?
That would be nice, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. No, I'm open to it. I'm open to it.
So what I would suggest is, you didn't ask, but
Yeah. Give it to me.
try the where's love and forgiveness. That simple
Yeah.
thing. So anytime you think of
Yeah.
that thing, it's like, where's love and forgiveness? Throw that towards that disgust. Throw that where's love, because that's in you.
Yeah.
We think it's outside. It's not outside. It's inside. And that's going to help you heal
I believe that.
and release whatever's. I talk about it like they're ropes that we're still holding on, and if you hold on, you'll get rope burn. You know, it's not working out for us.
That's true.
But we're not paying attention to that.
Do you believe in cord cutting meditations?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah. Whatever works, you know.
Yeah.
You got to find, with meditation, you got to find what you enjoy and do that.
That I love.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just been bringing me up this whole session.
Well,
But do you have something you want to bring up?
no,
I'm here.
It's not like in a bad way,
No,
but
no,
like
no.
obviously we're very close, right? And so we are mother and daughter, but in many ways it could be a little maybe too friendly or too sistery because we're so close in age. So then we have to get back to being mother and daughter kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not in a way, but you are the closest person to me. So a lot of my experiences or, you know, etc. have stemmed from, you know, my mom or past that, you know. So yeah, it's not sorry. I didn't make, but you
No,
are
I'm
you
fine.
are my,
I'm
you
fine.
know, my example,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be Blaze's example and, you know,
Yeah.
so that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, I always say our kids don't realize until you get older, but even me thinking about my mother, you don't realize your parents are growing up with you in a sense.
Oh, yes.
Like even with us, even though we were close in age, but even my mom, like she didn't have it all together. You know, your parents don't have it all together. They may look like they have it together,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what they're presenting to you. Like, oh, okay, but a lot of the times we're growing up with you, and with you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had you at 17, so I'm really growing up with
Yeah.
you.
We're still doing it. So I have a thing. I love that you're bringing this up because I hadn't said this. So what I always say to people is when a baby's learning to walk and they fall down, what do we say to them? Do we say, what a failure? You're a loser? Do we judge them? No.
Be like, oh.
We'd be like, oh my gosh, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Get back up. Well, guess what? We're learning how to walk for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
The day we die, we're learning to die. It never ends until that last day, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're learning how to walk. Every experience you're in, you're learning how to walk. The education system that we go through when we get through a grade and we have another, that sets up this paradigm that when I finish, when I'm an adult, okay, now I'm in the adult world and I have to have it figured out. That's a lie.
Yeah.
We're always learning to walk. I used to say to my kids what you said just now. The way I would say it is when we were struggling, I'm like, we're learning how to walk right now, guys. We're just learning how to walk. But we're still learning how to walk.
Yeah.
And so, this reaction that you had from your family member, he was having his reaction in his way. Are you willing to be in the learning how to walk? Like that was his default, his conditioned response, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe we can be more forgiving like we are to a child, that we are all learning how to walk through every single experience. And some people, they fall back on their programming and they act in an unconscious way. And I'm not going to define that as good or bad. It's unconscious. People don't even realize what they're doing most of the time. But yeah, we're all learning how to walk, and when we can remember that, I think we ask different questions and we respond in different ways like we would to a baby learning how to walk.
Yeah. So should I message him? And be like, you know what? I reflected.
Message him, where's the love and forgiveness?
You know what? I
Where's the
reflected
love and
on
forgiveness?
this.
And I'm such an a-hole. I'm like, I'm past him. And she,
Right. She's no, but like I'm like that. I'm forgiving. So now I'm
curious
like,
to see
and it
what
showed
happens.
exactly that.
I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe maybe I'll come back and he'll come.
I know.
Please come back.
I'm happy to come back.
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, we could have a live
love
situation.
that.
We could have a live situation.
I was thinking, like, man, I would have loved it if all my boyfriends went to therapy, like the one who came to see you. But even like, because I think about like who I want to spend my life with when I meet that person, and I'm like, I think it would be so great if he went to therapy before we decided to spend our lives together. Hopefully, wishful thinking, because it's like you're coming with your baggage, I'm coming with mine, and it would be nice to like make it easy, make it easier. You know, to have those kind of conversations, because a lot of men do not like going to therapy.
Yeah.
Because they think there needs to be something wrong.
Right.
You know?
Or they're afraid. I think a lot of people are resistant because they're like, I'm doing fine, which they're not. If they actually looked at like their anger or whatever, they're actually not doing fine, but they're comfortable and they're uncomfortable and they don't realize. It's like, well, I don't want to go back there, like, because it's unknown. So people are terrified to explore all the stuff that they're like, well, I got through that. But it's like, did you really? Like, you actually can heal anything. You can. It's totally possible to heal anything. And one thing I do with men that I find that they like, I'm like, we don't even ever have to talk about the thing. I mean, because a lot of people don't want to talk about the trauma or something that happened. I'm like, we don't have to get into story. We don't ever have to talk about it. A lot of talk therapy is just recycling a story, and actually people get stuck there. Yeah. I'm like, we can just work with the energy in your body. That's actually the fastest track. It's like, okay, someone come to me, they're like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, great. What's happening in your heart right now? How are you feeling? What's going on? You know, there's a million ways to deal with it. So I want to say that too, because it's not about the story.
Yeah.
It's about freedom.
So tell our followers your website, because I know
Yeah.
you said you have meditations on there, right? So
Yes.
what's the website? Let's plug
And your
that.
podcast.
I'm at elizabethwinkler.com, and I have a podcast, the Shadow and the Light podcast, which is everywhere. And I'm on Instagram at eWinkler Therapy. And I love to offer free resources for people. I really want people to realize that you are an alchemist and that you can create, your pain can become your power, your fear become freedom, and it's all inside of you. You hold the keys to that. And so through meditation, through tools, through journaling, through all sorts of ways, we can find that freedom.
I love that. Oh, I feel like we just went to therapy.
We did. I may text that uncle. I'll keep you guys posted and let you know.
Let me
was
know.
one of my
No, I
wanna know.
want to make it better. You know, I feel like if my mom, I know my mother's not going to say anything, but if I can kind of be that person to just say, hey, let me just have a conversation with you. So, you know, I feel like maybe we can get some things, you know, moving within the family.
A letter.
A letter.
Write the letter.
I
If
haven't
you need
written
help,
a letter
you know,
yet.
I'm here for you.
Yes.
If you need help.
So we'll see. You have anything else?
I'm just so honored that you came on
Oh my
today.
gosh,
No,
it's an honor to
seriously.
be here.
Yeah, this is already one of my favorite episodes, and I just love learning, and I don't know, like you said earlier, we want to be better. And I think about that every day.
Yeah.
Like, how can I be better? How can I be more light instead of, you know, dark? Because we all embody both. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Do you feel
such
like
an
I've gotten
honor.
better over time?
I think I said I'm proud of you earlier. Did I miss that? When I was nudging
I didn't
you?
hear it.
Oh,
Tell me again.
No, I said we grew up together, and
Yeah.
so when I hear you say things like, you know, I'm open to forgiveness. Like, I see growth in you because
Yeah.
I've known you since you were 17. So, and I tell you that all the time. That when you do something, I'm like, oh wow, wow.
Well,
You
I
know?
remember when we were together, when we did your show, Living Lozada, like, this is a very different,
Yeah.
like, I see a lot of growth in your relationship because
Yeah.
it's a very different place. So
Yeah.
I can see it
Thank you.
for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my girl. That's my girl. That's my bestie.
Love you.
Aw.
I'm sending my
I
son
love
to
you
you
too.
when he can talk.
Yes,
my
you're
future
gonna meet him
husband.
after this.
Yes.
No, but I would want him to get therapy, even if he doesn't need it. Just, you know, have an unbiased
Yeah.
opinion and conversation. And, like, I want to start that young.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
good. And I make sure with Leo too, and I think you'll do the same with Blaze. Like, Leo feels so different than I did growing up, right? So he's very open. He tells me a lot of things. We talk about everything. I know all the gossip. Even some of his friends' moms are like, hey, something happened in school, find out from Leo, because they know Leo's going to tell me. And I love that we have that relationship. And that's one of, whenever someone asks me parenting advice, I'm always like, talk to your kids.
I agree.
Like, I'm not going to, no one is going to give your kids the advice that you're going to give them. And I feel like I want them to feel comfortable. So with him, you know, and he's a boy and he's very emotional sometimes, you know, we talk a lot.
That's
You know,
incredible.
I mean, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But you're right, I am going to do the same with Blaze. Recently, someone had asked me, like, am I going to be like a mom, like I'm not your friend kind of mom, or am I going to be a friend? But the way I see it is like, I can only do that, I'm your mom, for so long, right? Because we're kids for such a short amount of time, and then you go to, you know, your teenage years, but you're an adult, you're going to need a friend.
Yeah.
And so that's how I see my parenting, I guess.
And I think it's like, be a human
Yeah.
mother. Like,
Yeah.
like I have faults. Like I always say to parents, you know, like what I was saying earlier, if you do something you're not proud of, go to your kid later that day and say, make a repair. It could be a year later, like, or your uncle, you can make a repair. It's never too late to make a repair, to go back. You know what? I maybe went too far there, or I lost my temper. I do that. I raised my children doing this endlessly.
And
I'm a therapist, so
and I think it's also important to make that repair while that person is here on earth. A lot of
Yes.
people have so many regrets not making that repair, and now that person is no longer here, and you're like, I wish I would have made that repair, and I wish I would have had these conversations. I wish I would have said this. So, I think that's another reason why I'm so forgiving, because I don't, even with my dad.
yeah.
I was like, okay, I have to get over him, not being there for me and everything that, the abandonment issues and all those things. And I made peace with that by just having a relationship with him. So, so make that repair when it's not
Yeah.
too late.
One last question.
Oh, wait, can I say
Oh, yeah,
something
yeah.
about that? Because I just think this would be a great opportunity to say to everyone watching to make a repair to one person today. Reach out, whether it's, you'll know what's the right mode to do it, a letter, a text, a call, and just never too late, could be 10 years ago, and just make a repair to somebody on the planet. That's a gift to you. It's a gift to them. I just want to throw that out there because I feel
That's
like
great.
and it's like we're
Wow.
all learning how to walk. Like
Yeah.
I was learning to walk, and I fell down in that moment, and I'm really sorry. You could say that. I fell down, and I know that it hurt you, and I'm reflecting. I'm thinking about you. I was watching Drop the Low, and they said, and I want to extend that.
Yeah.
I think that is a way that we can extend that out into the
I
world.
love
I
that.
love that.
All right. You had a question
Yeah.
before we wrap out?
Yeah, I know, but I want to know. Do you have a therapist?
Yes.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
If you're a therapist and you're not seeing a therapist, I don't know about that.
That's what I wanted to know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, first of all, I love therapy. Like, it's a joy for me. And I like to reflect, and I want to be always learning. But a therapist should be in therapy. Nope. A therapist needs to be in therapy because you're helping a lot of people, and you also need to look at how you're growing and evolving, etc.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, if you guys enjoyed the episode, what are we saying?
Follow us on our Instagram, Drop the Low. Catch us on YouTube Wednesdays.
Comment.
Subscribe. Yes.
Let us know what you think. We look at the comments. I say this every episode, but we really, really, we read the comments, and we're hoping that this episode helped you in some kind of way. And we'll see. Maybe we'll have a part 3 to this.
Yeah.
Maybe
your
we'll
uncle.
have the infamous family member here.
Oh, wow.
I
love
love
it.
it.
Oh, I would love it, too.
Let's unpack it.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
I'm ready for it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Of course,
Thank you.
anytime.
We really appreciate. You're like the best of the best.